Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to the letter. What happened last time, you ask? Answers are coming. Alright, where is that freaking entrance in the notebook? Wanting some alone time and fresh air, Luca excused himself, lingering in gardens as he remembered the memory of his late mother. Suddenly a beautiful woman appeared by his side, striking up a conversation with him. It was all pleasant at first until... stuff happened. Anywho, I hope they did a damn good job of fixing this place because I'd rather not have to deal with leaky roofs. Though Hannah might find humor in it and perhaps ask me to sing in the rain to wear out my anger, I don't like the idea that reality did a horny patch job with the place. Hannah technically paid millions for this place. It better live up to the price the reality company sold it for. Not that it's something you should be fretting about at the moment, when her health's not at its best. Hannah is going to be brought to the hospital for a checkup today, and if anything I prefer that she focus on getting better. That fever, no matter how slight it is, can be good for unborn children after all. Perhaps a proper rest is all she needs. But, I'd rather not assume things. I'm a businessman, not a doctor. Wonder of wonders why I even bother agreeing to babysitting duty at that. But here I am, scheduled as today's babysitter for Suarez's brat, once her father drops her off dimension steps. So that is a worry for much later. If I wish to, I can ask that nobody bother me while I doze off in a cocoon of comforts. But as always, somebody has to be a basket.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want? It's far too early to deal with your nosiness.
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Loath as I am to admit it, he's right. The whole thing might have rattled me, but there is little point in jumping at every shadow I see from the corner of my eye. I shouldn't lose my head for a threat that might not even come. I should know better by now. But I've never been this worried about a possible threat on my life before. I'll be honest here. If anyone's in danger, it's Hannah. I can take care of myself just fine. With security tightened, I'll have at least one guard, if not 5, making sure nobody gets within 10 feet from me without my say-so. Hannah, on the other hand, is pregnant and will be away for most of the day. It is a small relief that Johannes will be with her.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on the edge. Information and it all may very well help me calm me down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? A fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Can anyone blame me if I show the tiniest bit of interest? She's still not done with the house and she's a nice enough woman. Plans to go back to sleep are gone.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
She's probably passed out after enjoying a pint or 2 or 10 in a bar somewhere. She's an adult. It was the weekend. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck. I wish I was passed out after a night of drinking. He does know that mobiles are a thing.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Certainly someone must know where she is. Tabs are kept, without fail, on people who come to work with me. Background checks and constant surveillance until they finish their contracts with the rights. Some would say that it's all a bit over the top. But I can't be too safe. Too many want me dead.
What about one of ours? Has anyone seen her? She's pretty hard to miss with how tall the woman is.
The last anyone has seen of her was here. The morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this and to suspect.
It's awfully important. Hans, that I can easily prove my innocence, is all a matter of principle. Because even the accusation of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation. Although maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it would be such a hassle to have police poking about the house looking for a body that doesn't exist.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Yo, Luke? Yo, Luke? Where are you?
Yeah, there goes your sleep, mate. Well, there goes in plans of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh.
Yo, Luke? Did you stop your toe again? He said you should always use your indoor voice when you have visitors.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
He's the best.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on.
The best attitude. The best. I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
You know what? If I was working like him for people like Luke and Hannah, I would be acting the same way.
Bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change to a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence. Wish I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie's a great kid, wonderful, better than most Browns her age. Handy tag is the last thing I want on my agenda right now with this whole Hannah business. Fortunately, I am well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on, no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set to preparing for the day. Running comb through my hair is just divine and simply makes me feel more human. Bad hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber was, I often had to grow it out until mother had the time to cut it for me. The curves and tangles were simply horrid. Why, I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly doesn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean clothes in my hands is a clear marker to the start of the day. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors that come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Speak of devil and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely apologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our playdate today.
I doubt I forget. Kylie's visits are a frequent enough thing that they found a way into my schedule. They're supposed to be vivid to her godmother. But we can pick who a child gets along with. So long as I'm not busy, her father can drop her off for the day. Which is all well and good for me, if it makes 2 hours focus on work I've given him. Besides, she's a bright child. Tolerable. Kay's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hannah and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small baby. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hannah, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddling her mother's arm and white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant up close enough to hold one, at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I've never done so before that, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hannah. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess, and I was nearly an obnoxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant to think I might be doing it again soon, with Hannah's children, with our children, kids of my own flesh and blood. In a few months' time, I'll be cradling them in my arms, hearing the ring of their laughters against my ears. It's a tender thing to think about. And despite myself, in spite of all the fears that I will never be good enough for them, I'm actually looking forward to it.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as he told me for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
The Suarez infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. Its Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake.
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid raced down the stairs. Just the thought of her sleeping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Slow down, the food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want to let her turn the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I have only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from coloring books and crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, so I can certainly brief and please her if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Manor Caesar or Caesar is a creepy little booger. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding that thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now it stares me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and punish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. I'll break it, find a way to get rid of it, if it wasn't from Hannah and if only Kylie isn't so attached to it. The thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday, one of a kind. Remember, don't buy stuff like that for children, really. Because they really are terrifying. My darling Hannah loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interest long with the wife. It's not something that Hannah does wrong on her part, she does try so very hard, it's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She'd never been around older children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she's made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I at least have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scraps and skinned knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had to be time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mood, or to even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I will say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to her papa. Problem solved! Unfortunately, Hannah isn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time. Thinking to spoil the child, it turns a whole playdate awkward. Every time! Taking the last seat left, I plug one of her coloring books from table to a seat filled with the dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see for together, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She wants to put those tutus on model cars even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses.
Yeah,
But we went
that's
to
awesome.
a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Siri, dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all my classmates.
She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
Wait. The fact you said this in the present time makes me a little worried. I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the hell to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet the two of us are completely alone. Oh, so you also noticed that look. Thankfully she only finds my disturbed look as a funny grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars for. Oh, the thoughts of Lisa giving Kylie ideas, and one of said ideas being massacred by dinosaurs. Something I'll probably need to bring up with her father aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settle in after getting her sweets. I want this. We tuck into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Our waffles because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which really goes great with the rest of this feast. Fest, actually, as Kylie puts it. God damn it, I want this. If I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. I don't need coffee, I don't like coffee. Just that food, please. With our bodies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She mentions Miss Pink, Rebecca, which I listened to with half an ear. Our initial meeting had been a mess, but I came quite fine myself to listen to stories about her teacher wholeheartedly, the phantom sting in my hand still itching. She talks of the Sandman in the park and of her new friend who likes to play hide and seek when she is not sniffing in the loo, and also I think something is going on with my throat. When finally she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That will change as soon as her stomach settles, of course, the calm before the storm. Because behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off her. Just like most of the children, I guess. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin and a question on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's resistance, even if I can't really draw. With Kyle using the black crayon that leaves me with a blue one, I absentmindedly start to draw a puppy to the best of my abilities. It's as I attempt to give the doodle dogs a ride that Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio? Where did Tia go? I saw him leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a long bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she posed this particular one.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
And as kids go, there are follow-up questions.
And you didn't go with her?
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty. I want to say that the little tyke is evil for making me feel so.
But I understand. When I get sick, Papa and Mama have to leave me with their maids, too.
Well, they don't take care of you?
That doesn't sound right. Even my mom took care of me when I was sick as a child.
Well, they're always busy with work.
Oh, I see. I guess that's no good.
I know she doesn't mean to accuse me of Nick, but as her founder's boss, maybe I do overwork Swartz a bit. There's a lot of responsibilities that only he's capable of carrying out. Delegation is a thing, sure, but when said responsibilities are legally questionable at best, putting others to the task isn't always an option. But
Maybe your papa is in need of some vacation time. He deserves it, doesn't he? He's a hard worker. I could arrange something for the holidays.
I could cut him some slack. Some of his assignments can wait. I can't do much for her mom. She isn't one of my employees, but this would have to suffice. It will be worth it if it makes the little girl happy. Goes just like that. The somber look on her face turns into one of pure joy. It's like looking at the little sun, warm and bright. It's nice to do something kind every now and then.
Would you really, Teal?
Would you like that?
I'd like that very much, yeah! We can go to this museum! There's one with lots of cool trains and planes! I like trains! And there's the local manor theme park! And a monkey forest! There's a kid adventure farm too, the wacky warehouse, and a play barn as well, and...
Whoa, slow down there, Munchkin. I know you're excited, but I think you should let me schedule your dad's day off before you plan a whole year's worth of stuff.
There's an embarrassed giggle, but she does reel herself in, enough to calm down, which is fitting, and of itself, it's obvious how giddy she is. And if she was looking forward to the holidays before, like an inside shoot, she does now.
I think Tia would be really happy if you were with her. You could have told me you needed to go to the hospital with her, Teal. I won't be angry.
I'd love to be with her, but I wanted to spend time with you, Munchkin. And she told me to stay. Besides, I don't like hospitals. They always smell like alcohol. Not the good kind either.
I don't think anybody likes hospitals. They're scary.
I know about the scary part, but yeah, I don't think anybody likes hospitals.
But you said Tia is brave and strong.
Well, there was one thing that scared her a lot.
That she is.
A content silence comes over us as we go back to scribbling. For I stop when I'm done with my blue dog, cringing at how awful it looks. Kylie reprehends me for that because I should be like her. The little dyke goes through several sheets of paper, one drawing after another. Practicing, she says, because practice makes perfect. Not to mention there's a drawing contest coming up in class, and she just has to beat Tim from class D who says girls can be superheroes. The clay gets a turn too, where we start sculpting food and pretending we're Michelin chefs. When we're too tired from tossing pizza and making cakes, there's no trouble in finding another activity more relaxing for the both of us. I find myself invested in reading the picture of Dorian Gray once more. Often I lose myself in the pages of the book. However, it is rather difficult to do so when I'm also trying to keep an eye and an ear out for Kylie. I've been reading the same paragraph over and over again even. Inexplicable, I can feel my skin crawl when the girl sits with Narcisa by the parlor's fireplace, humming, singing. So I ignore it long enough to hear only the tail end of the song.
Everything is up in flames, up in flames, up in flames. Everything is up in flames, my fair lady.
That was that song. I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel. So it's a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I called. For it is earlier than agreed upon time, he voices no complaint. He bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they left. Or at least I interpreted it as such from where I stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the men. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I'm a dangerous man, after all. And this mansion is kinda creepy. But to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. No, seriously, I don't understand how people are capable of living in mansions like that. They are freaking creepy. Well, mansions, of course. Aside from picking up the mess kind left scattered about in the parlor. Oh no. To my immense relief, she remembered to take her doll home with her this time. Whew. But the same cannot be said of the crayons and papers littered here and there. First things first. I snatched my own doodle off the table and ripped it to shreds, leaving no hope that it will see the light of day. The rest of the drawings, all kindly remain unharmed as I collect the lot. Though they have been stuck neatly on tape before, they must have been blown about when I saw Kylie off. And there are plenty of them. Oh boy. I have a very bad feeling about this. It will not be just drawings, right? There will be something else among those drawings, won't there? From cats and cakes to colorful rainbows and gardens, the child managed to make a lot during her morning here. There is one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace where it landed. Leave it there, dude. I expect to see another one of Kylie's masterpieces. I am instead greeted with something a bit more concerning. Funky looked. Kylie, Tayo looked Takako. What? There's me, and there's Kylie, the two of us side by side and smiling as our stick figure self standing in a nondescript field. That much I can ascertain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But the third figure stands next to me in the drawing. A woman with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako, the writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I feel a chill go down my spine. A brief? That isn't mine! It has me turning around, expecting, hoping to see someone, anyone, but nothing. And that's when I hear it. Laughter, sweet and merry laughter ringing from the ballroom. That's not sweet and merry! Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It's as if I'm being mocked. As I stomp towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expect to see some of the help dealing about, idle from their duties. Perhaps they thought they can slack off in their duties without the head butler around and with my preoccupation with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But again, nothing. Nothing from what I can see. With a cursory glance at the very least, I roam around, looking for a near impossible hiding place, and still I'm all alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter, but a cursed laughter, echoing about in the room, in my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
Well, maybe you shouldn't have said that. Cold uneasiness settled into my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nosy come from nowhere. I have to put a hand against the wall to stay upright when the world shifts and pain explodes from behind my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control not to heave then and there. The only thing my pride allowed me to do then is to close my eyes and attempt to alleviate some of the pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say memories not mine, flash in my head, unbidden and unwelcome. Like a strong hammer strike to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. Whatever emotions they hold are muted. I'm nothing but a spectator. Still its wave feels palpable. For it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head. Through my eyes and my ears it creeps and buzzes in the spaces between. One after the other, they come at me, an unending flow that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it into two. I can feel every little motion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of this, like I've lived through them, though I know that it's not possible. All the anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above all of it, are the whispers. The voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there is a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out of nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to a man and a woman, for one can only call them a lord and lady going by their clothes. And oh, just see how happy the couple looks. For the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not all there. His face is familiar, in fact they both are, but I can't quite place why. The two make for a pretty picture as they dance in the center of the ballroom. Even the phantom crowd's attention stays on them. It reminds me so much of Hannah died during the early days of our marriage. The honeymoon years, they call it. We're happy then too. All smiles and her sunshine, even with the normal dreary weather. Younger, we had less to worry about, or at least thought that way. I wished we could go on that way even with all that I did and had to do. But life has a way of catching up, there was work to be done. Although we had to stay the loving, perfect couple in public, I could not afford to look so weak. To appear tied down to someone else, to those who knew who I really am, I had to harden my heart when I have business, but it hadn't always been so easy to just switch that part of me on and off. I should be concerned about their intrusion. Ask what? In bloody hell they are doing my house, throwing party as if they own the place. Ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before, when the parlor and the foyer are both only a few doors away. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize that this might not even be the real. It dawns to me that these two are the people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make all this up on my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then I can feel eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage, and I regret looking away. Oh, for fuck's sake, go back to the normal form! The woman from the garden stands beside me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run. But something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices fill the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, draw me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand here, vulnerable and afraid, but the dance has already ended. And I'm afraid that I might just be tonight's entertainment. Attention is all well and good until bollocks like this go down. Those phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing through though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction, but they do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind? Our kind? What? You're one of us, my love. We are bonded by the blood we share.
What? If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it is nothing compared to how they are now. Her voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing ever only the space of my head. They welcome me back as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. Okay, can you take her away, the creepy version? They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once fleetingly, like a new memory, having burned itself in my mind. I have no struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't...
The welcomes turns into screams at my protest, pain and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it is my duty to stay, telling me that I belong among them, to them. Gently just turn near, threatening. The warning scratches and the baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I try to speak some sense in the hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our lord, my prince.
The fuck are you talking about? At her words, there's a compulsion to stay. For my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two. Oh, you finally returned to us! The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she's safety, she's home and her heart. We have been waiting for so long! But repulsed at these thoughts, I rage away and turn with a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhuman and monstrous. I don't dare look back, man. I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. I just run. Out of the ballroom. And out of the parlor. It's only then that I bother to look back, hoping to pray to the god I scorned that it did not pursue me. I would have run all the way out of the mansion too, if only someone didn't get in my way. I collide a body much larger than mine and fall back to the ground, head spinning as I look up at the stained glass. Turning my head to the side replaces the colorful side with a pair of shiny black shoes. Fatigue fills every inch of my being that make me refuse to get up. Meanwhile, a familiar head of ginger hair looks down at me in bemusement. It's that night.
You really must look where you're going if you insist on running about. Do tell, where is the fire?
Oh, thank God you're here.
I do hope you don't have a concussion. Can you count backwards from 15 to 1 for me?
15, 1.
Oh, fuck off, you wanker. Just help me up.
I do not think insulting me if you do have a concussion is a smart decision. But no, really. 15 to 1.
That woman, she was here. I told you to keep an eye out for her.
The other man offers an arm and pulls me up to my feet then. But before I can storm off and pull him to the ballroom, he anchors me down with one hand on my shoulder and the other touching the back of my head.
No bruising or bump. That still does not mean that you don't have a concussion. If you are too lazy to count backwards, can you tell me your full name? Where are you currently?
We don't have Lucille Mitchell Wright, and this is the Ermengarde bloody fucking foyer. But we don't have time for this.
You must make and have the time to make sure you are not broken in the head. I have already sent security to scour the whole house when I saw you running out of the parlor, Dummkopf. If the woman is here, they will have her. You will only be slowing them down if you plan to interfere.
When he points that out, I realize that there are guards starting to filter in the house as we speak, with some already searching the nearby rooms. Armed and uniformed men go about in pairs, making it so that the house is in a flurry of activity. He lets go of me then, with the knowledge that I am not going to kill over anytime soon.
I was hoping that you would be tired from dealing with the young miss on my return. Instead, you come running and hit your head. Such a troublesome boy. Shall I be carrying you to bed, too?
I can manage just fine on my own. Though I don't see how I can sleep until that woman is caught.
It'll be easier to keep you safe in your quarters. This is twice we've known the woman to break in. I think we can safely presume that you hold her interest.
Huh? Not only him, He says it as a matter of fact in a tone that brook no argument. Not like I'll argue if it means I'm kept safe. The two of us scurry upstairs, for we remain watchful and wary of any potential threats to my person. We make it to the master bedroom without any trouble, and two of the security are left outside the door. No problems at all. Probably. Not until we get inside. Johannes' eyes scatter wildly, a look of dread on his usually stoic face. And I don't stand for a moment, looking around the bedroom. It's empty. But then I realize.
Where's Hannah? She came home with you from the hospital, didn't she?
She's supposed to be here. I sent one of the maids to accompany her here, to let her rest.
I feel the color drain from my face when he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
I'm not staying in here while Hannah stays out there.
One of the guards will find her and bring her here.
And what if they don't? What if that woman gets to her first? What if she already has her?
That's not possible.
You can't promise that.
There is no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we are both unarmed. But with this, I can even the field, or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for Hana, and you're either with me or you aren't. I'm not risking Hana, and I'm not leaving her alone.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There is a withering look on him that I try to match. One that somehow I'm losing fast to, even with him not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You are in no proper state to go looking for anyone. If it will make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one person to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps it is his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I'd like to think that over the years he has grown to care for Hana at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him with her safety over any servant in this house. So on a quiz.
You have 2 hours, Shirokin. I don't think it'll take that long to find one missing woman in this house. 2 hours! Any more than that, and I'm going out there.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child, watching me and treating me like one? There is the reason why we'll never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
And the knife?
The knife stays.
Very well.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. Without, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. For a moment I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions, then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quick as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed ultimately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wonker strikes so dangerous close that I can feel the electricity in the air. Power goes out, not seen later, and I feel as I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deafening still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against the place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here, Hana will be safe too. Shoken will find her, and when I wake, she'll be here. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, a matter of minutes darkness claims me. Bring with it laughter and whispers of a twisted love from a time long gone. We'll find out what he's dreaming about in the next episode. No, seriously, I need to get put to bed as well. No. It's 4:30 in the morning, so it's time. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you tomorrow as well. Bye bye. Or more like good night.